Welcome to CASA, Mercer Burlington's first Cooking with CASA, and what we hope is an ongoing series. I'm very, very excited to welcome Chef Michael Scipione and have you with us. I'm told by Chef to remind everybody to start boiling your water if you're cooking along, so that it's ready to go. I just want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about our organization. CASA is Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Children of Mercer and Burlington counties. We recruit, train, and supervise volunteer advocates who support and advocate for children in unique situations and their needs who are in out-of-home placements for as long as they are in foster care. Becoming one of our volunteers is pretty rigorous. The training is very involved. It's 33 hours of training. It's not necessarily for everyone. There's background checks and fingerprinting and all of those things before they get their court appointments and all of this training, but it is a very worthwhile endeavor. The courts generally refer their most challenging cases to CASAs. These are children who've experienced trauma. They need to have the educational and emotional support that a CASA volunteer provides. And because our CASA advocates stay with their cases, with their child, until that child is in a permanent, safe home, oftentimes that advocate is the only constant in that child's life during that time. And sometimes that can take years. So the foster care experience can involve lots of different placements and lots of different homes, and the CASA is the constant in that child's life during that time. If you're interested in donating to CASA or finding out more about becoming an advocate, you can go to our website, which is www.casamb.org. That's MB like Mercer Burlington. There's a calendar on there with links and a video about training if you're interested in that. And of course, there's a million ways that you can donate to us. You've already donated to us by being here today, and we can't thank you enough for that. And you could donate more if you like, anytime you want. I now want to just say a few words about our chef. Literally so excited because Chef Michael Scipione is in the house. He actually is in the house. I'm hiding upstairs because we're socially distancing and we don't want to have all these echoes. But at the last minute, he had a technical issue at his house. So he packed everything up and came here to cook in our house. So, which is great because I'm getting to keep the gnocchi. Michael Scipione is a very well-known, renowned chef from Philly. He is a Philadelphia native, born and bred. And he has a very unique and delicious spin on traditional South Philly Italian favorites. He is known for his private catering through Sano by Michael Scipione and his private events, as well as his TV and public appearances. You would know him from the Food Network. You would know him from the Atlantic City Food and Wine Festival. He's been on Fox, NBC, CMT, HLN. This is a true celebrity chef, and we're very excited to have him. The other thing that makes Chef Michael unique is his unique approach toward fitness and food as a journey toward a healthier lifestyle, which he has adopted his whole life. I mean, check out those guns. So we're very excited to have him and hear more about his approach. Oh, I did want to mention that Sano is about to launch a new storefront right here in Burlington County in Mount Laurel. Please check out Chef Michael Sano at his website, sanobymichaelscipione.com. Check out his new storefront that's about to launch in Mount Laurel. It's very important to support our partners and our local businesses here in Burlington County, and especially when their products are as delicious as this chef's. So I'm going to hand it over now to Chef Michael. I do want to say, if you have questions as we're going along, this is live, so please type them into the chat. I'm going to be monitoring the chat, and I will try to ask the chef your questions as we're going forward. Thank you. Take it away, Chef.
Good morning, Dina. Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited about working with CASA. Today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a really healthier spin on a South Philadelphia favorite, which is a potato and gnocchi. What I did today is using a low-fat ricotta cheese, and I'm also using a gluten-free flour. So it kind of gets best of both worlds when you're looking at healthy. So I'm going to jump right into it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me at a certain point. I'll answer whatever you have as best as I can. All right, so first you just want to get your, you have your glass bowl. You're going to put your ricotta cheese right into the bowl. Let me get rid of that. And if you would like, if you want to start your water and put the water on, I'll give you a few seconds to do that. This way it's boiling. By the time we're done, they'll be ready to just go right in, and we can cook them from right there. Ricotta goes in first. The next on top of that is the flour. It's 1 cup ricotta, 3/4 cups of flour. After that, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of pecorino cheese. And now what I like to do is use the zest of the lemon. Citrus zest, lemon zest, lime zest, it's actually going to help lower cholesterol. It has a natural pectin in the zest, in the oils. It's not as potent as a statin drug, but it actually helps you lead a little bit healthier life that way. So, and that's what I try to focus on with certain ingredients. So if you have a little microplane or some kind of cheese grater or anything like that, that's great. If you don't, really not too big of a deal. We can get some lemon flavor into it at the end of the dish if you like. So what I like to do is just roll really nice and slow, just so you're getting just the zest and not getting the pith of the lemon. The zest is where the flavor of the lemon is, and it takes out all the bitterness. So you're just going to roll that out. And as I'm rolling, I'm actually turning the lemon zest to in between my hand. Maybe you can't see I'm going too fast, but I'll try it again and see how I'm kind of flipping the lemon. This way I'm not getting into the pith.
Chef, what if somebody wanted to use a different kind of cheese, like a goat cheese? Is that possible?
You could try. I never tried it, but I think it would. I think the ratio would have to be different with the flours and the cheese. So I would start with a 1/2 cup of flour. Goat cheese isn't as moist as a ricotta cheese is. So we could try it that way. And you just kind of, this dough is very easy to work with. It's not like making a dough for spaghetti or anything like that. You don't want the gluten to build up in a dough like this. So you really don't need to knead it for more than maybe 2-3 minutes, even if that. So, and you'll see how quick it comes together. So next thing you want to do, let's get the cheese out of the bottom. We're going to crack 1 egg. And always crack on a flat surface. If you crack on the edge of the bowl, the shells are going to go inside and it's going to fall directly inside your bowl. So crack on a flat surface and the whole egg goes right in, nice and slow.
I'm being told to remind people to switch to active speaker view so you get a better view of the chef and the cooking. That's a great tip about the eggs, by the way. I never knew that one.
Yeah. Okay, so now all you need to do, the back of your wooden spoon, and it's not going to stick to the spoon. And that's the whole purpose of the glass bowl as well. You can probably use a plastic bowl if you need to, but you'll see how quick and simple this dough comes together. And you just want to kind of roll and mash at the same time. And it's only going to take what it needs as far as flour. So the rest isn't going to overwork your dough or actually make it overly dry is what I meant to say.
Chef, what happens if the dough does seem a little dry? Is it okay to add a few drops of water to make it the right consistency?
No, never add water. What you can do is add a little bit of olive oil.
Olive oil.
Fat in there, and that will help. So that's pretty much what we're going to get in this bowl here when it's not sticking to the sides. Only takes a couple minutes, like I said. And just mash. If I'm going too fast for anyone, just let me know, and I'll slow it down. To make some room here. And what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of flour onto the board. Just a touch to make it roll smooth.
Do the ratios change at all when you're using a gluten-free flour?
No, this is a 1-to-1. This is a 1-to-1 ratio, gluten-free to all-purpose. So no, nothing changes. And what you don't want to do, you don't want to over-flour the board. You want to make sure you spread it out thin, because if you put too much flour on the board, then it's going to make the dough a little drier. You can also rub some olive oil on your hands, and if you see here, how it all pretty much came away from the bowl. If you have a little bit left in there, that's fine, not a big deal. So you can actually rub a little bit of olive oil on your hands if you like, and that will make the dough not stick to your hands. So now we're done with our spoon. This just has to come together, and you'll see how quick and easy this is. I just like to roll, 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 and mash it all together. And you don't want to overwork it. When it comes together, make maybe like a little softball out of it. That's pretty much it. Now, what you can do with this now, if you're not having it right away, put it back in a glass bowl. You don't even have to clean it out. Pour some olive oil over the top, saran wrap over the top. It'll make it set a little bit better. You can take it out in 20 minutes, an hour, roll them out, put them on a tray with some parchment paper so they don't stick to the metal. That's pretty much, that's the dough right there. Your dough is done. So if there's any little extra pieces of dough on the side, you can just place them aside. Don't have too much flour on them at that point. So here's my board scraper. If you don't have a board scraper, a butter knife is fine. You're going to cut this in quarters. And then one more time with the quarter to make it an eighth. Out of the way. And now the rolling part. So it may feel like it's going to break apart. Really gentle roll, and it will come together.
So you're rolling this with your hand, Chef? We don't need to use a rolling pin?
No, no rolling pin, nothing like that at all. So the first one is always like a pancake. It's like a tester roll before it really sets. Let's go here. Yeah, this one's kind of rolling a lot better. So keep your fingers together. I'm sorry?
About how thick are these?
About a quarter inch. About a quarter inch roll. Should be fine. There we go. So if they break in the center, it's not a big deal. And you want to kind of press out left to right as they're rolling. If you have a little open end on the outside, that's fine too. You can just chop it off. And last part. Got a ½ inch cut in between each. Will be fine. I'm actually going to grab a bowl back here to put them on the side. A little bit of flour on them is absolutely fine. This way they don't stick together. And you're going to continue to roll until the dough is complete. Until you have nothing left. So this is going to feed, I would say 2 to 4 people, depending on how much you like to eat. But typically, I'd like to get 4 servings out of it. And that's your typical like RDA, recommended calories, just so you're not overeating. So try to get 4 servings out of it if you can.
I think we'll be lucky to get 1 serving out of this. I can't wait to try.
If you notice, like I said, the first one's like a pancake. The second one is rolling a lot smoother. It's just because it had a few more minutes to set.
Chef, can you freeze this dough and use it later?
Oh, you don't want to freeze the dough. I would roll them out first and then freeze it, because the moisture is going to build up since the regatta cheese is moist to begin with. Once it thaws out, it's going to get too soft and too mushy.
But after you cut it into the little gnocchis, you could freeze those?
Yes, yes. Put it on a piece of either wax paper, parchment paper, with just a little bit of flour. Lay them out flat. Freeze them that way, then put them in a Ziploc bag after that. So this way they don't stick together during the freezing process. Gotcha.
Now, sometimes I've seen the little bit bigger gnocchi with the little fork tine marks in them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're more like of a dumpling. I like them small.
Yeah,
you can
those
hold
are
them
big.
down a fork. That is probably the most tedious way. If you have a lot of time on your hands, go for it. Go for it. It makes a tiny bit of difference. You know, they say it sticks in the sauce a little bit better. The sauce sticks to it a little bit better. I don't really see a difference. Yeah, I really don't. So that's just me. That's my opinion.
That makes sense.
Now, what I have on the stove here, I just took a little bit of tomato sauce this morning that I made, just some basil, Vidalia onion. puree it down, and it's actually on low. It's already starting to simmer in a few minutes. So if you don't have any sauce on you right now, if you have some cherry tomatoes, maybe a piece of garlic, anything like that, the sauce doesn't have to be red. When you make this dough, you could do whatever you like. You can make this with a pesto and toss it through once they're boiled, which is a really great option. It's one of my most requested dishes when I do private dinners.
Can you pan saute these afterwards, or are they too delicate?
You want to boil them first. You can saute them right after you boil if you want to like do a little like a fried gnocchi or a pan-seared gnocchi. Like I said, I try to keep the calories as low as possible, but that is always an option.
I figured since we're having gnocchi, the calories are going out the window.
Not really, because of the gluten-free dough, and if you're going to get, you'll see the portion size. The calorie portion, the calorie serving is in the portion size. You know, if you're going to eat double the portions, double what you actually really would, that's where the issues are going to come in: blood sugar spikes and things like that. But if you're, pretty much healthy person, this is something great for you. It's really not a bad idea. And like, again, like everyone always says, in moderation is the key. Too much of anything isn't a good thing.
That is true. Portion control is one of
Yes.
the most important aspects of
Yes.
healthy
Absolutely.
eating.
Absolutely.
So a meal like this wouldn't be something, it wouldn't necessarily be a spike if you manage the portions correctly.
Right. Well, I'm using gluten-free flour, so you manage your portions correctly. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is portion control. And you want to balance it out with some protein. You can make a little meat sauce. You can do a little fat-free turkey sausage in a pan, add some shallots to that. Once that browns, add a little bit of chicken stock. By the time the gnocchi boils, you can pour them in. I'll basically demonstrate that process here with the dish I'm doing. And again, you can substitute whatever you like. Cherry tomatoes with maybe some arugula or some baby spinach. That's really a great combination too.
That sounds great.
So anybody have any questions at all?
I think I asked you the two questions that I had. I was wondering if there are any, I don't know if anybody who's joining us today is vegan, and I think I had mentioned this to you earlier. I often see people ask, how do I substitute and make a recipe vegan?
Well, typically they are made with cheese. So we could skip that. You could just use a straight out sweet potato. You could use cauliflower. You would want to oven roast it. Sweet potato process, you could do one of two ways. You could oven roast the sweet potatoes. You could actually microwave them with the skin on, pop some holes in them. I think it's like about 8 minutes of potato. Pretty quick. It's about 8 minutes of potato in a microwave. Spoon it out, measure it out into your cup. You can use gluten-free flour with that. If you want to use all-purpose, that's fine. You would omit the cheese and you would omit the egg. The egg binds this mixture because of all the flour and with the cheese with the sweet potato. Once they're mashed down, you want to smash them down with a fork. The ratio from flour to sweet potato will be the same. You don't need an egg because the sweet potato is so moist. It's only going to take up the amount of flour that it needs. The rest of it is going to stick to the board. You don't need to mix it in a bowl. You go directly to your board. So you want to put your flour down first, sweet potato on top, a little bit of salt and pepper. I don't use salt and pepper in this, if you notice, because the salt is in the cheese. So that's where my balance comes in with things. Okay. Plus, then you're going to add it to the sauce. The sauce has a little bit of salt in there. If you keep salting over and over again, that's when you're going to end up with a high sodium content. And that's something else that you don't want. And really makes a difference. It really makes a big difference. So this is our last log that I have rolled out.
I still can't believe that I'm having a healthier pasta meal with gnocchi.
And by mistake, I picked up fat-free ricotta, which I normally don't. I usually use a 2% ricotta cheese. There's a very simple way where you can make your own ricotta cheese as well. It's really a quick and simple way to make it if you're really looking to keep it a little bit healthier. This way you know what your ingredients are. But if you're going to get a reputable company where you purchase your ricotta cheese, you're not going to have any of those additives in there or anything like that. So basically right now, the water's up to a boil. Now I already salted the water.
Why is
And
it
now what I
important to salt the water, chef?
I'm sorry?
Why is it so important to salt the water when we're making pasta?
It's again with this, I didn't put any salt in the pasta. So when you salt the water, it's actually going to flavor it a little bit. It's not going to be overdone, but it's actually going to bring out the flavor of any type of plain dish, whether it's a gnocchi that you're using or a pasta dish. You need to get something in there with it, and that's the perfect way to do it because it doesn't actually absorb as much. It's going to rinse off, and it's still going to give you that little bit of flavor. So what I like to do is stir the pot, stir the water, so it's going to kind of make a whirlpool. And then put the gnocchi in. This way, they don't stick. And then once they're in, just give it another quick stir. They're not going to stick to the bottom. They're not going to stick together. They're probably going to take about a minute or so to come to the top, and you'll see them begin to float. Once they do, you need to boil it for maybe like another minute and a half. That's it, because it is fresh pasta.
So because they're fresh, they don't need to boil for as long as the store-bought.
Frozen, sure. Even if they're frozen, once they come up to the top, you want to boil while they're floating on the top of the water. You want to start 3 minutes from then for a boil. So 3 minutes after float is the term that we use pretty much. And you can see they're already up at the top. They're so light and delicate. They're like little pillows. Could you get in there? You want to get in there a little closer? And you can see how they're floating already. And you don't have to keep stirring the water. I was just checking to see if they're, not stuck together. But that's one of the best ways to do it with any pasta. Stir the water first. They won't stick. When you mix water in, oil and water doesn't mix anyway. That's what that term is about. So putting oil in the water so pasta doesn't stick actually doesn't work.
That's an old wives' tale, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, if you do want to add, if you do want to freeze them after this, you can as well. Without sauce, once you drain them, rinse them a little bit, and then add a little bit of olive oil, mix it up, stir it with a spoon, and then you can freeze them like that. This way, when they come out, they won't be stuck together either. So that's it. That's the little tip you could use there.
So really, it would only be after cooking them, so they won't stick to each other.
Exactly. Once you freeze them, exactly. So, and they're pretty much ready to go. So now that we're doing a warm sauce on the side, the cooking process is going to continue once you go from the water to here. So I'm going to start straining them out.
Now you're going to hand strain them, chef?
Yeah, I like using a spider strainer. It's the easiest way. I'm going to go right into the sauce.
That looks amazing.
And the sauce is nice and plain. It's just a basic sauce. I use Vidalia onion, a little bit of garlic. Add the sauce, a little bit of salt, pepper, crushed red pepper.
Yum.
So
you have any herbs in that?
You're going to use 5 cans of 32-ounce crushed tomato, 1 Vidalia onion for that, 2 cloves of garlic. That's the way I like to make it. That's just me. That's the way I like to make it. So now that we got this going here, what I'm going to add in are some cherry tomatoes and some fresh arugula. And arugula basically has the same effects as kale. Arugula has dietary nitrates. And with dietary nitrates, not to be confused with nitrates that you're going to find in lunch meat, what dietary nitrates do is actually increase the levels of your oxygen consumption. So you're going to utilize your oxygen better by the dietary nitrates that are in there. It's one of the best, it's one of the nicest fresh herbs around, freshest leafy greens around. It's very flavorful. It's a little pungent, peppery, and this is really going to wilt down. It's like basically going to wilt down like spinach. Like you need a 5-pound bag to get about 2 cups out of it. So you can just keep mixing that around. Use a spider strainer. Get a little mix. And just let those greens wilt. If you don't like a real thick sauce, you could add a 1/2 cup of chicken stock or even a 1/2 cup of water. It'll loosen up the sauce a little bit. It'll thin it out for you. And what I like to do, I said I like to repeat flavors. So I'm going to cut the lemon that we took the zest off of. And then squeeze that right in the top. It's really going to brighten up your dish and bring all those flavors together.
So what you're saying is if I eat this before my workout, the arugula is going to help me use my oxygen better?
If you're going to do like a leafy green salad, sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Not the gnocchi.
Gotcha. That's post-workout.
Exactly. So, and you see, I mean, by the time I filled out with the arugula, the cherry tomato, oops, with the arugula, with the cherry tomato, I only actually used 1 ladleful, basically, of the gnocchi that's mixed in there. So you still have about 2 to 3 portions left in that bowl. I made that a little bit bigger for the camera. But there you go. Oh, and back to the cheese. I forgot about the cheese, the benefits of the cheese. This is Papato cheese. It's found in Sardinia. Papato cheese is a sheep's cheese. So if you have irritable bowel syndrome or any kind of dietary issues with the lactose, this is a lot more mild than a cow's milk cheese. So I know we made the gnocchi with that, but that's just a little tip. We made the gnocchi with ragazza, which is a cow's milk cheese, but it's just a little tip. Goat's cheese actually too is high in alpha-lipoic acid, as is pecorino. So that's a little tip. If you're having pasta out, or what have you, plain pasta, you want cheese, that's the one to go for. It actually has alpha-lipoic acid. Alpha-lipoic acid will actually help lower cholesterol and help you keep that under control as well. So another substitute for a gnocchi, if you're not a fan of something like that, you want to use a multigrain pasta. Again, it's not going to give you the blood sugar spikes. You want to top it off with a pecorino cheese or a papato. That's what you want to do, or any type of sheep's cheese, any type of sheep's milk cheese is what's going to be great for you. There's your dish. There's your meal. It's done. It's complete. They're like we got a tester down here, so
Yeah.
the cameraman is going to give it a test right now. He's going to have to get on camera.
That's why
I'm going to
you
wait
went
around
on
the
the
kitchen
CASA
to find a fork, so you can find a fork. There you go.
Chef, how do you know when they're done?
3 minutes after float. Well, actually, with fresh gnocchi, 1 minute after float. After they float, once they boil, once they come to the top and the water's boiling, let them boil for another minute or so.
Should they be a little soft?
Yes,
Okay.
they're going to be soft. Yes.
Just checking.
The world has just stopped. There's no one else here.
So good. I can't wait to come downstairs and taste this. I want to say thank you so much.
I'm
to
taking
Chef.
Tone with me because I didn't eat breakfast yet, so you better hurry up and get down here.
It's supposed to be a little soft.
Chef, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
I want to tell everybody again, this is Chef Michael Scipione, Sano by Michael Scipione. You can find, let me find your website again.
And I shortened the name that'll take you right to the website because that was way too long for anybody to process. So it's sano2go.com. It's SANO, the number 2, go.com. And then I'll take you right to my website.
Excellent. Well, and congratulations on the new store. I can't wait.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
I know that this looks fabulous, and the best part about it was that you made it for me, so I will definitely be at the store. Thank you, everybody, and also www.casamb.org if you want to donate or get more involved with us. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. It's so great to see my kids here and to see my nephew and my grand niece and nephews and all of these kids that are joining us. I hope everybody had a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.